Hi everyone, Leo Babauta from Zen Habits here, and I'm going to share some of my top tips for having a focused, streamlined, minimalist digital workspace. So I've visited this topic before in my podcast, but I've gotten a bunch of questions about this, and so I'd like to share my top tips. So the first tip is to close all apps except the one that you need for the current task at hand. We're going to get to current task at hand soon in an upcoming tip, but close all apps. So if you have a whole bunch of apps open, close them. At the very least, use the hide feature. Actually, for me on the Mac, it's Command H, and that app hides itself. But I actually like to use Command Q to quit the app. Now, opening it should be cinch. You should have a shortcut for opening it. I use keyboard shortcuts. Lately, I've been using Raycast as a quick launcher. Alfred is another really good one for the Mac. But have an easy way to launch your apps so that when you need to get to it, you can get to it. But otherwise, close the apps. You don't need 10 apps open at the same time. Second tip, do the same thing for your browser. So I like to use Arc browser, A-R-C. It's basically a revamped browser that has all the tabs in the sidebar. But what I do is I take all those tabs, I highlight a bunch of tabs that are of the same project or thing that I'm really into right now on, YouTube or whatever, and I highlight all of them, and then I just use a shortcut to create a new folder that all of those go into. And that just gets them all out of the way. And I can go back and revisit that project or the interest of mine later. But I shunt them into folders so that everything gets out of the way. And the only tabs that are open are the one or two tabs that I need for the task at hand. Again, we're going to get to task at hand soon, but do that. Third tip, have all the icons on your desktop. Take all of them, put them into a folder like to file, and then throw that to file folder in your documents folder so that you don't have a bunch of icons open on your computer. Now, there are some people for whom the things that I just said, those top 3 tips, are going to freak you out because that's how you remember things. Putting a bunch of icons on your desktop, like little documents and stuff like that, it's how you remember how to do stuff. Having a bunch of tabs open, that's how you remember what you need to do. Same thing with a bunch of apps open. It's like, oh, if I have this app open, I'm going to remember to do stuff. Well, as I just described, a whole bunch of browser tabs, apps open, and icons on your document it's a lot of things to remember. So my recommendation, if that's what you do, is just start a simple note that has things to remember. So it's like, I need to pay my power bill. I need to, email Jan. I need to, research this or that. I need to, whatever. Write the things down that you're using browser tabs or open apps or your things in your email inbox, things on your desktop. Make a list. It won't take you but 10 minutes to make that list. And then you can close everything else. That list will be your way to remember things. Put other things that you need to remember on that list too. Oh, I need to buy some things in the grocery store. I need to, remember to, work on that presentation. Put everything down on that list and you can order it later. Okay, so that would actually be tip number 4 so that you don't use all of these open things to remember things. Okay, tip number 5, take that list and anything else you might have on a long to-do list of everything you need to do, things on your calendar, take it and narrow it down to the things that you actually need to focus on today. This needs to be a focused short list of perhaps 5 things. What are the 5 things you're going to focus on today? You cannot focus on 20, 30, 50 things in a day. Now, maybe you're different than me. So maybe you do a whole bunch of small things. I like to do things that are high impact. And there's some small things that I need to do. I need to pay this bill. I need to get these groceries. Great. I'll put that down at the bottom of the list. But the top of the list is 5 things or less that I'm actually going to focus on today. Maybe it's just one thing that I'm going to focus on all day, but somewhere between 1 and 5. And then maybe a few small reminders at the bottom. But this is a short list that I'm going to focus on for today. Now you can put that at the top of a notebook, on a post-it note or a scrap of paper. You can have a little note open that shows you what to focus on. Order that list in order of impact. What's the most impactful thing for your goals, for the things that you care about, the meaningful things that matter most to you? Put that at the top, and then number 2 and number 3. So order them by impact. If you have 5 things, what's the number 1 most important thing? If you're not quite sure, just eyeball it. You don't have to have it perfect, but just put it in order of impact. So the most impactful thing is at the top. The next tip is pick the top one and focus on that. Now you're going to be tempted to go skip down to some smaller ones at the bottom. You're going to be tempted to open your email inbox, look at your browser tabs, do all the other stuff that I just talked about. But you are not doing that, because what you've done is you cleared it all out. Your desktop is nice and clear. Your browser tabs are all gone. Your apps are all closed. And the only thing that you're going to focus on is the task at hand, which is the number 1 impact task on your short today list. Number 1 impact task. And if you can focus on that for the most part, now no one's perfect. This is a practice. But if you can focus on that top impact task, and then the next one after that's done, and the next one after that's done, you might not finish your list of 5 things, but you are going to move your projects forward, your meaningful, purposeful projects forward in a way that you never have before. And you're going to be able to do it with a lot more focus because you've simplified your workspace. That's my top tips for you for simplifying your workspace, creating minimalist focus, and actually creating an impact in what's meaningful to you. Thank you.